Okay, I'm back here. Good morning. I have been reading all the newspapers, the watching some WhatsApp and the social media. The tragic thing is that we are discussing still some mundane matters which do not concern us today. The most of the people who are trying to derail the growth of India, which is Bharat, are mainly concentrating on those activities which are focused to derail India. Because you see, India, if it starts growing like China, and with China dominating the world in very many sectors, and India starts dominating in other various sectors, because it is a very powerful force when you consider the outsourcing of a lot of activities, especially software. You have the biggest companies, HCL, you have Wipro, you have Infosys, you have TCS. You have them challenging the world with regard to the outsourcing activities. Now, all these are contributing to the development of India. And that is what you call creating heartburn in a lot of people. They do not want India to grow. But the saddest part is that there are a sect of people within India who are not acting as Indians, but they are acting as agents for different parties, which is, I think, is not correct, and I would think it is very sad. That is all I would say. Because there are very many brilliant people in that group. Maybe they are not, they are angry with Modi as an RSS man, or Amit Shah as an RSS man, or, the question of now the rising activity towards, Hindutva, the abrogation of 370, all these, I think they should reflect upon it. All these are activities which have been continuing for a very long time. I think should take a break from them. See, the main, if you look at it, if you mean there are no homeless in the US? You mean there is no homeless in Germany? You mean there is no homeless in Italy? But India, when they portray India, when you come and look at a website or somewhere where they want to provoke India, the first place they take is a slum where a child sits there. I don't know whether he is dressed up for the occasion, but a child sits there with a handful of food in its hand, with a plate, with half empty plate with nothing on it, and sitting there looking at it with tousled hair, and with no shirt on, with a half pant which is torn somewhere. That is the picture of India which is always portrayed. Is that the India we are looking at today? No, yes, there are pockets which we are trying to correct, which we are trying to improve, which the government is taking steps to strengthen, so that these kind of this kind of levels of poverty can be removed, eliminated, is what I'm looking at. But there are a group of people who do not want to change also. If you look at the people in the hilly areas in certain places, tribal areas, they still want to continue with certain traditions which do not fall in line with the current modern thinking. I think it is not wrong. Yes, they can continue to live their lives which they want to. But that should not be taken as a photograph picture and posted all over the social media and all over the newspapers and state this is the state of India. No, it is not that. India is so free. We are given them so much of freedom. And we say, okay, you are a tribal, you want to live your life like that, you want to live in thatched huts, you want to live in top of a tree, you want to grow, whatever you have to, you want to hunt, you want to use bows and arrows. We are not preventing you. India doesn't prevent you. But that doesn't mean that just because they are let free, they are aspects of poverty in India. See, that is the saddest part. We are trying to highlight something, a freedom, a right to live, as something which is incorrect. Everybody should fall within two parameters, A and B. There cannot be a third parameter. That is the beauty and flexibility of India. We permit everybody to live their lives in the way they want to. You are not going to impinge upon them. Because if you impinge upon their rights, then it is human and social impingement, is what I would say. So that is not poverty. That is their way of life. They like to live like that. There are still people who tie loincloths and they still live in the cities. They work in farms because you see, you can't wear sheets of clothes on your body and start working in a 42 degrees centigrade in a hilly, in a place like Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh, or you can't, you must understand the structure. You must understand the structure. You must understand the environment. You must understand the temperature. There are so many factors which go into it. Just because a person wears a loin cloth, not a pant and a shirt, and goes into the field, and a lady ties up her sari and puts it up into a form of just similar to a loin cloth and works in a field, and her hands are dirty and her legs are dirty, it is not poverty. It is because the environment, the system, the temperatures, so many things go into it. That picture is not given at all. They take a picture of a man standing in the field with a loin cloth, in a dark black body and a dark brown darkened body working in the sun, and with what you call a towel wrapped around his head, and you call it, oh God, this is India, poverty stricken. No, it is not poverty stricken. It is people. That is how you can work in India. You can't work with a sheet of, a plastic sheet down your, hanging around your shoulders and your legs and go into the fields at a 42, 45 degrees centigrade. So let us put everything into perspective rather than criticizing, rather than pointing out delicacies because of the reason it does not fall within the parameters which have been described by certain factors in the world. Each part of the world is different. Each part of the world lives their own lives. But there is a tendency to decry India because today India is growing so fast that very many countries are not able to keep pace with them. And therefore, when you look at the competitive aspect of India growing, there are countries which are being challenged. There are countries which have dominated the world over the years, and today you are looking at what you call a small guy coming into it and saying, okay, I'm also entering into that arena. It is like, a new guy coming into the gladiator in the Colosseum, like a gladiator in the Colosseum. But he's got power. He's learned the techniques. And he can defeat those gladiators who are already existing. But the existing gladiators will not like it. They will like to kill him because he's challenging them. In the same way, India is entering into newer and newer fields which were kept beyond the reach of Indians. When Indians were taught not to think differently, they were taught to think in a A way and do not deviate into a B way. The A way was defined, it was structured, it was thrust down, and it has been brain, I'd say it has been not even, a chip has been put into the brain of the people saying that if you deviate from A and you go into B, you are doing something which is not correct. And therefore you should be corrected and you should be brought back into A. Is that the feeling that you develop in India? You talk about freedom, people talk about so many things. But why not Indians grow out of that A feeling and come into B, go into C, go into F, go into X, go into Y and Z? Why not? Why is that India should be restricted only that they should be remain A? It is because I think technically speaking, a chip has been put into the brain of every Indian to state that I'm sorry. The chip will command you and say, no, my friend, you are deviating into B factor, you're entering into a DEF field, you're entering into a X field, which is not correct for you. You should not do it. Please come back to A. Let me continue with this. Thank you.